What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Refinement. This is the Reseller Card Podcast. This is episode number 2. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the first one. Today's topic is preparing for battle as a reseller is a must. I think that no matter what level of reseller you are at, you're always preparing for battle. There are always challenges. The problems of the higher level resellers are the same problems as the lower level resellers. You just get all the other problems. 5 a day, 10 a day, 15 a day, 100 a day. The 100 a day people still have the 5 a day people problems. And it's really important to just stay patient because it's way harder than people think to get it going. I will tell you that this week, I spent the entire week looking for new suppliers. It's really difficult to run a business when you only rely on a couple suppliers. You want to make sure that you have the things that you need to sell and they meet your metrics. That's the number one most important part of reselling, is having the right items to sell. I have noticed that people who have super high margins, if you buy something at $5 and you sell things for normally $40, after all is said and done, you're probably at 60% profit margin. A lot of things can go wrong and you're still fine. Let's say that you buy the item and it's not ready when you go there to pick it up. So you have to wait another 10 minutes. And then you take it home and it's not as clean as you thought it was. So you spent a couple more minutes to clean it up. And then you get it ready for photographing. You remember, you see, oh, it's missing a button. So you have to go sew another button on it. You sell it. It's going to cost an extra $1 because it's going to Alaska. All these things happen to you, but because your profit margin is so high, at the end you still make $25 profit and you're okay. But if your margins are small, let's say you buy something for $1 and you sell it for $7 plus shipping. Sometimes after fees and problems, you're just breaking even or making a few cents. And I know the largest eBay sellers in the world used to really only have a $7 to $10 average sale price, and they've all gone out of business because the increase in the post office prices put them out of business. But the people who are selling expensive items, it didn't affect them. They can just sell 1 or 2 more items, and 1 or 2 more items pays for the increase in the post office service, where if you're selling lots of cheap items, an increase in the post office, you can't even make up the difference because you go from making 25 cents to making 1 cent. And if anything else happens, like the cost of shipping supplies goes up, now you're negative every transaction and it's actually cheaper to close. So I think preparing for battle has helped me so much. I'm always assuming like the end is near, and I just finished my taxes a few weeks ago. And on the tax form, this is a little bit morbid, so maybe cover your ears. On there, it says, has your spouse passed away in the last year? That's a question on the tax form. And I was thinking to myself, eventually, if I stay married, one of us will have to check that box, right? So I'm almost 40 and most people live till 73. So let's say I have 33 years left in my life. One of those 33 years, one of us might have to check that box, which is kind of scary. That means I'm only doing my taxes like another 33 times on average. Not that many times left. So I was just thinking, really cherish what you have because you never know how long it's going to last. So all these battles, don't let them frustrate you because you need to overcome these to get to where you want to go. Living a mediocre life is probably the greatest regret of people on their deathbed. Like I never took that chance. I never went on that trip. I never asked that person out. I never tried to make my small business work. For me as a small business owner, I feel like I need to have extra because there's always something that goes wrong. So right now I have deliveries that are early, deliveries that are late. I have suppliers that are wishy-washy. Pretty much every single order I get from a supplier is wrong. Has too many items, not enough items, they counted wrong. My most recent order was supposed to be 18,000 items. It was 12,000 items and the person didn't even know. Supplier has no idea, shipper has no idea. If I didn't physically count, I wouldn't have known that it was 6,000 items off. This is like tens of thousands of dollars different on the cost of goods that if I wasn't paying attention, I wouldn't even have noticed that. So you have to prepare for bad things happening. So this is going to sound a little crazy, but let's just say that your entire life was only 1 week. So I'm definitely past the halfway point. So we're talking, it's like Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning for my life right now. That means half the week is already gone and everything is up in the air for when it's supposed to happen. You don't know what's going to happen to your kids or your family or your job. Everything is sort of moving. So you have to make sure that you have enough margin. I just made a video called How to Save $100,000 as a Reseller, which I recommend that you guys listen to because It's easier than you think, but it takes longer than you think. The average person, according to Dave Ramsey, takes 6.5 years to save $100,000. They don't actually make 100K from their house going up or a come up, because most people don't get lucky. Like if you live in an area and it's suddenly growing and now your house is worth $250,000 more, that's great, but most people didn't have that happen to them. Most people just spend $17,000 less than they make, and it takes 6.5 years to save $100,000. That was really inspiring to me because that's only $50 a day. $50 a day. Some people spend $10 a day on lotto tickets, right? So that's not 100 grand, but that's 20 grand after 6.5 years that you just spent on lottery tickets. That's $10 a day. You don't even notice $10 a day. $10 a day, you could have 20 different $10 a day expenses in your life and not even notice because of how small and insignificant $10 feels. But $50 a day is 5 items a day extra. That means in 6.5 years, you'll have $100,000. That's extremely reasonable. $50 extra a day for 6.5 years to save 100 grand, you would be better off than 86% of Americans. According to Yahoo Finance, if you just Google how many Americans have $100,000, 14%. That's really low considering it includes people who are in their 60s and 70s and 80s, right? And if you had invested like 2 grand when you were 20, when you're in your 80s, it's over 100 grand. So this getting it right at the beginning means that these obstacles right at the beginning are the most important to overcome, and it's the hardest in the beginning. Right in the beginning, when you are trying to get traction, trying to learn how to get supplies, learn how to set up your systems, learn how to get enough space, all that is so hard in the beginning. And I wish in the beginning I was a little bit more patient and I was like, man, there's got to be an easier way. There's not really an easier way. You just got to figure it out, right? Maybe the easier way is to watch YouTube and figure out somebody who's already done it. Maybe they can give you 1 or 2 tips, but essentially the best tip I can give you for reselling is to have a high margin. If you have enough margin, if you buy something for 8 and sell it for 40, or you buy something for 20 and sell it for 100, there's enough room to make some mistakes and buy additional items. So your store ends up growing in value, your bank account ends up growing a little bit, you have a little bit of extra, and you can actually afford to grow if you want to. Growing means buying a couple of extra items, buying new shelves, buying a new printer, having 2 inks so you don't have to run out. For me, I'm rebuilding 1 shipping center, and I have 7 areas to ship in my stores, and I am rebuilding 1 right now in the Oakland location, and I'm making it perfect, and then once it's done, all of them will look the same. I just wanted to fine tune it a tad bit, and it's too hard to work on everything at once, so you just work on one thing, make it so that you're happy with it, and then it becomes a standard and you work on a different thing. And for reselling, there's not that many things. It's customer service, prepping, shipping, sourcing. For me, I want to be everyone's biggest customer. I feel like you have more traction. I don't want to be the leftovers. I've been the leftovers before. It doesn't feel good. I don't want to be picked last. I want them to call me first when they have a good opportunity. And because I want to be called first, I can't be the smallest. That's what I found out. Like sometimes the best deal is the largest deal. So you have to be able to intake that. Right now I'm trying to buy a deal that's 105,000 units. It's the best deal and it has the best pricing. Now, if I have to say, you know what, I can't afford 105,000 units, can I take 25,000 units? They might say, okay, but which 25,000 units am I getting out of that 100,000? Am I getting the leftover pieces after the good pieces have been taken? I have found that to be extremely risky. Going to an estate sale on the first day, in my opinion, is less risky than going on the last day. If you go on the last day, it's already been picked over. You're still going to find some gems, but it's not the same as being first at the estate sale and having the pick of everything. There's so many obstacles, and the shortcuts maybe are showing up early, working a little bit later, paying attention to every single detail, counting every single dollar. But for me, to make that extra $50 a day, I think you need 500 items in your store, extra. So whatever number of items you have in your store is whatever many items, but we're talking about the $100,000 savings account for resellers, the 5 a day, $50 profit a day, extra. Whatever your bills are, put these 5 listings away, invest that in your future, put it in an index fund, put it in a savings account to buy a piece of property, put it under the mattress, whatever you need to do. Those 5 pieces are these are your freedom sales. You have 10 sales that pay your bills, you have 5 that'll set you free. So hopefully, guys, that was useful. I appreciate you guys. This is the podcast I do in the car every single week. Until next time, make progress daily.